Hello, Lina. Thank you so much for taking your time off to join us on All in Recruitment. Very warm welcome to you, and I hope you've been having a good week so far.
Yes, thank you so much, Lydia. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be joining this podcast today.
Wonderful. Lina, you've worked across the board from project management to marketing, and now you're in recruitment. And you are from Denmark, and you have spent the last 6 years in Dubai. It's quite a journey, yeah, moving around. So walk us through that journey, Lina, towards the recruitment industry. You have spent 2 years now in Scancruit.
Yes.
What drew you to recruitment?
So, as you just mentioned yourself, I've been in Dubai for quite some years now, and I've been in different types of industries. But what really drew me to recruitment, I think, is, I've always been working in one way or the other with people. And I just felt there was some things missing when we are focusing on the people business. So that was really what drew me to being part of that and working with the candidates and companies, because it is actually such a difficult industry to match the right talents with the right positions out there.
So you found something that was missing, and what might be these things?
So I think, well, I'm again live in Dubai, living in the Middle East. In Dubai, we are only, I think there is only around 10% of local people here. So that means that we are mostly expats. So there's so many cultures that are mixed together. And coming from Scandinavia and Denmark, focusing on people and the way that we treat our employees and so on is so important. So I really wanted to go into that and see how we could implement some of those trends in the market here as well.
And that led you to a career as a headhunter today. So what kind of industries do you primarily serve, Lina, and what might be some of the trends you've seen in headhunting within those industries?
So actually, Scancruit, we focus on all sorts of industries. We are not industry focused. We more focus on the positions that we are hiring for. We are sitting around 4 headhunters on each position to make sure that we are really doing it thoroughly. So that goes from sourcing, screening, doing the interviews, and so on. And it can be anything from the tech industry to the marketing industry, hospitality. It really varies a lot, especially in Dubai, where there is a ton of industries to focus on.
So any specific ones that you focus on, that you've seen at least some kind of trend within that?
Well, I have focused a lot on the hospitality industry recently, and also the tech industry. And what I see is for sure that the market is challenging. There's not many talents out there anymore. I think before COVID, it was very different than during the whole COVID situation. We had a lot of candidates on the markets and not so many positions. But after that whole thing, it has just boomed so much. And today it is really, really hard to find talents, especially within those industries. There's a huge demand.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially hospitality, right? Now that travel has reopened and you're going to have to scramble for talent all over again. But going back to your point about the people centric approach to recruitment, and recruitment is a people business, as you said. So what were your early experiences? You have transferred from a different kind of background into recruitment. What were your early experiences looking for talent when you started out in recruitment, especially in Dubai?
So definitely what I found the most interesting was that the cultures are just so different. We are, again, around 90% of expats here coming from all around the world. So it is extremely important that we adapt to different cultures. We sit in Dubai, but we are working worldwide. So I constantly have to be aware of cultures and trends both in the rest of the Middle East. We are working a lot, for example, with Saudi Arabia, which, although we are in the same area of the world, it's very, very different to Dubai. So it is extremely important to adapt to those different cultures. And that is definitely what I have found the most interesting when joining recruitment.
So what might be some ways you've been able to bridge that gap when it comes to communicating with candidates from different cultures?
Well, I think definitely, as you said, we are working with people and not products. And I think this specific phrase is what I use the most because it is just so important. We cannot just adapt as we can with a product. We can put it into any kind of situation or culture and it will work out. That's not the situation here. We are working with people. So it's been extremely important for me. Although I come from a Scandinavian culture, we always have very flat structure within our businesses. We are very straightforward. Whereas, for example, in Dubai, maybe you need to take a bit of a step back. There's a lot of respect here, which I have loved to be part of, to learn that kind of culture. And I think as a recruiter, that's really the most important thing, being able to adapt to the people, and not thinking of it as a whole, because every situation is so individual here.
So being in Dubai, you would have also, as you said, tried your best to adapt really quickly to the different cultures. Do you have any examples to share on how you did that practically?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, coming from Denmark again, we're being very straightforward and we like to get things done. And here it is all about building relationships. So I have really had to take that in. In the beginning, I think I was very much could go out and have the meeting, and I wanted to finalize with the candidates, and I wanted to get one project done so I could start with another. Whereas here it just takes more time. So I really have to have, being focused on each person that I've been meeting with, spending the correct time, not rushing through things. And that has been a bit fun in some ways, because again, we are mixing up cultures here. So many people have had to adapt to the way that I am, and vice versa. So I think that's one of the most fun things about Dubai. You meet new people constantly. And we often just laugh about this because we clash in so many ways, but at the same time, we really work things out together.
And Scancruit is a Scandinavian recruitment agency based in Dubai. What would you say might be some aspects that a recruiter needs to consider when they build relationships with candidates from different cultures? Are there any key steps that they need to take even before approaching a candidate?
Yes, I would say definitely. I think starting from zero is what is most important. Looking at things completely objectively to begin with, in order to be subjective with each candidate. If I speak with a Scandinavian, obviously I will go back to my personal culture. But each and every time I speak with a new candidate or a new client, I really make sure that I understand where they're coming from. So understanding each market, understanding each person, and then most importantly, keep in mind that the people that we are working with, they are in a vulnerable situation. They are about to make one of the biggest steps in their journey in life at the moment. So really having respect for that and understanding where they're coming from and where they want to go, and thinking about people as people, really, taking care of the people that you're working with is so important.
And this clearly points back to the candidate experience, right? And having a keen awareness, cultural sensitivities. What would you say in this context would be the key ingredients of a great candidate experience?
So I think that's a very interesting question, because I think there's so many different ways of looking at this. What I often see here in the market with clients and companies looking for candidates is that they are focusing on the education or of course also the cultural experience and so on, but mostly really their education. Where for me, work experience is the most important thing. You can have any sort of education and degree, but if you haven't used it for anything, then it's not worth much, And then what's really, really important is the personality. I always used to say that we can have 10 candidates with the exact same CV, but it is the one person that will stand out and that we will choose for the specific company. So being yourself and respecting your individual personality is very important, I believe.
So in the absence of work experience, so let's take a fresh graduate, for instance, if this person has no work experience whatsoever, then it comes down to personality and an ability to adapt to different cultures. Is that what you think?
That's one of the things, yes. And then also just the ability to showing what you want, and that you have this eagerness of coming out in the markets. We are hiring in Scancruit quite a few fresh grads, because we also believe that it's important to give them a chance, and definitely send them off into the job market with some security in some way. And how we choose those fresh grads are really the ones that are just willing to go out there and give everything that they got to the position that we are hiring them for. So eagerness and willingness to learn, is the most important if you are fresh to the job market.
And on that note, the talent that we're seeing in, especially in the tech space, has been either some people have called it scarce, not enough, and some people have talked about how it's difficult to find the right kind of candidate in the tech recruitment space. So, what would you say, having also focused on the tech industry, what would you say are the top 3 challenges facing tech recruitment today, and what might be the ways to tackle them?
So for me, the tech industry is so interesting. It has just boomed a lot during the past couple of years. I've never seen an industry, to be honest with you, boom as much as it has. And finding the right talents, because it's still so fresh for us to understand what we need. It's still very fresh for the candidates to go into that journey themselves. There's just a lack of people in general. That's definitely the most difficult thing. Then also, we only have a few candidates to work with, and they are sitting around the world. So pulling them in from different countries, giving them what they want as well, and making sure that we are accommodating them and the company at the same time is very, very difficult. The skill set within tech is huge today. You really, really need to be good at what you do, and there's only so few that do exactly what it is that we are looking for. So it's definitely been difficult, but I'd say how to tackle it is just building your network. We have had to do it with quite a few tech positions, and I'd say that we have built quite a good network. We also have offices around the world. So being in Europe as well has really, and in the US, for example, and also we have now an office in Lebanon. So being around the world has allowed us to have a broad network. And that's definitely a recommendation. Make sure to broaden your network internationally, because after COVID, everything has gone remote and we can find people from anywhere.
Just to add to what you're saying, with COVID, almost every company today is kind of like a tech company today, because they have had to pivot very fast and transform themselves from whatever they've been doing into a more digital space, using different kinds of tools and productivity tools. And this also leads to recruitment, and recruitment is also not unaffected by it. And there are plenty of tools that focus on automating the processes and curating maybe the most relevant information to make the best decision. But recruitment is still very challenging for many people. Why do you think that is?
I think we have so many great tools. For instance, Manatal is a great tool, and we actually use Manatal in Scancruit to begin with as well. We have since then developed our own system purely because we needed it to be implemented in our Danish company. Mm-hmm. So I think tools are great, and I think it creates structure and overview, and it's really, really important because we have to do with thousands of people doing a usual work week, right? But making sure to be a good recruiter and knowing what you do all comes down to who you are as a person, how you interact with other people. Are you able to match the right positions with the right talents? It's really a mix of having great tools to structure yourself. It's a very, very busy industry, and you will lose it if you don't have anything to structure yourself with. But then also I need to say you need to love what you do. Otherwise, it's never going to work for you to work so much around people on a daily basis as you do as a headhunter and recruiter.
You have to measure your efforts and see where you're doing well and where you're not, and that improves the way you work as well. And what kind of impact do you think technologies and tools will have on recruitment?
It's done a lot for recruitment. I mean, Scancruit started up during the pandemic. It was a crazy time to start up a recruitment business, right? Because nobody were giving out positions. Because it was unfortunately such a difficult period of time.
So why did they start in the middle of the pandemic?
Well, I think because we already had our office in Denmark, right? So the CEO of our company, he really wanted to start something up in Dubai. It's a booming market. And I think being an investor and entrepreneur for so many years, he just knows what to do, although it seems like the most crazy thing to do at the time. He really saw, 2 years ahead, this will be the right thing to do. And he was completely right. We are in a great time right now, and there's never been a bigger need for recruitment agencies and headhunters than there is today, because talent is so hard to find out there. It has changed a lot. I mean, during the pandemic, to refer to that, is that, at that time, there was, you couldn't meet up, you couldn't meet in person, and we need to do interviews constantly. We need to meet with our clients and all these things. We couldn't do that. So even just today, you and me, we are sitting in 2 different locations, but we are doing everything remotely. And I think that's been such a great tool. Again, we are hiring much more from around the world now because positions can be remote. So we hire people from London that are working for the companies here in Dubai or in Saudi Arabia and really all around. I've never worked so much internationally as I do now. And that is purely due to the technology tools that we have today.
You have so much experience because, although it's only 2 years in Scancruit, but it seems as though you've been in a very pivotal period for recruitment. So with all this experience that you've had and the things you've seen in the recruitment space today, what kind of advice would you give to someone starting out in recruitment today?
So I think what is most important, as I have mentioned a little bit before, is you need to love what you do. Again, we can have educations, we can graduate in different industries and working around that. But recruitment all comes down to who you are as a person and how you communicate with people and if you love to work with people. I speak with 20 different strangers a day just because I need to do interviews and I need to meet with my clients and so on. And I do it because I love doing it. I love communicating with them on a constant basis. So I think that's the most important thing. And then as an advice, if you already know that this is what you want to do, build your network. It is the most important thing. And don't be afraid to reach out because we all want to talk to each other at the end of the day. I think sometimes we are a bit too shy to just reach out to people, both candidates, clients, whatever it is that you need within recruitment. But don't be shy. Put yourself out there and build your network.
Thank you so much, Lena, for your time. And those are great insights. I love the passion you have for discovering new cultures and also the fundamentals that you emphasize, that this is a people business, and wonderful. So thank you so much for making the time to be on this show. But I'm sure the audience wants to know how to find you, how to find Scancruit. So where can they look you up?
So personally, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with anyone who would like to connect with me on LinkedIn. It is my full name. But for Scancruit, please visit www.scancruit.ae. There you'll be able to find everything you need to know about our business, but also all the positions that we have available at the moment.
Thank you so much, Lena. And we have been speaking with Lena Brøndum Hjorth, who is the senior recruiter, senior headhunter, and recruitment consultant at Scancruit in Dubai. Do look out for future podcasts from All in Recruitment and stay tuned for our next videos. Thank you.
Thank you so much.